This is Legend of Galahad on the Sega Mega Drive / Genesis. This is essentially not so much a remake, but a version of Leander. I think that's how it was pronounced, which was on the Commodore Amiga many moons ago. Mind you, this game was made many moons ago. It's pretty much the same game, although I must admit I find it slightly easier on the Mega Drive. This is probably down to the joypad as much as anything else. But yeah, it's a really good game. It's by the people that did Shadow of the Beast, and the game style is quite evident. There's like really bizarre random things going on, and the game is tough, as you'd come to expect, but it's not as tough as the Shadow of the Beast games, that has to be said. I actually prefer playing this. I think it's more enjoyable, essentially because I can actually make progress in this game, where I didn't really make a great deal of headway in either of the Shadow of the Beast games. I think it's also helped by the fact that this time the hero is actually armed with something useful, as in a sword, and not his bare fists or a yo-yo. And I like the setting better as well. Some of the Shadow of the Beast settings were just downright weird. On this, it just feels better. It feels like a game that's actually designed for people to play, rather than people experience, if that makes any sense. I sometimes feel when I'm playing the Shadow of the Beast games that the focus of those games wasn't playability, but almost like, hey, look what we can do with the graphics and the sound. And that was kind of good on the Amiga, where the graphics and the sound were amazing, but the translation to the Mega Drive wasn't as good, and therefore you lost some of that impact, which was a shame. They were still good games, but they were very difficult to play, and because of the nature of the difficulty and the fact that the graphics and sound weren't up to par with the Amiga version, the games felt less rewarding to play. It didn't feel as good getting through the game, enjoying all of the deaths and having to remember what went where and this, that and the other. In this game, it's very much more of a standard type video game, and by that I mean you're given a mission, you know where you've got to go, you know what you've got to do, and then you're just left to get on with it, and I much prefer that. You can also upgrade your character as well in the game. You can upgrade the equipment, his weapons, and so on and so forth, and these are done via a shop. When you kill enemies, they leave behind coins, and you can use these to upgrade your character. There's also other things you can collect along the way as well, which you can put towards upgrading your character, but I'm not going to go into that here because I don't want to spoil the game. It also shows you that you have bombs, and this is quite confusing because you start out the game with bombs, but you actually can't use them. He doesn't throw anything like a hand grenade or anything like that. It's used in conjunction with a weapon upgrade that you can get later on in the game. I mean, I tried every form imaginable to get him to fire a bomb, and nothing worked. And then went trawling around the internet thinking, oh god, is it because I'm using this like fake Mega Drive console, this Blaze Mega Drive console, not an actual Sega Mega Drive console. But when you actually look at the control system, there isn't anything for it, and apparently in trawling the internet for a good couple of hours, I actually found the answer was that you have to have a sword of some sort before these bombs actually work. So it was an issue. I didn't get the instruction book with the game, so it was one of those issues. But I was quite relieved to discover that it wasn't the fact that, you know, it was a flaw in the game being played on what is essentially not a proper Sega Mega Drive. So that was a bit of a relief. And as I say, it is a really good game. I do enjoy this. I can't remember what significant differences there are between this and Leander, because I haven't got a Leander. I had it on the Amiga and I've not played it for years. There's probably going to be graphical differences, no doubt, and sound differences. I don't know if the structure of the missions is the same. I'm sure people who've got Leander or got a better memory of it than I have can answer that question. But, you know, I'm not going to compare it to the Amiga, because I kind of did that with the Shadow of the Beast games, and although they are frustrating and they are difficult, it kind of does a little bit of a disservice to the actual game itself. I mean, the important question is the game enjoyable to play? And in this case, I would say most definitely it is enjoyable to play. Comparing it to the Amiga, I don't really think there's any benefit in doing that. You know, for this, you just need to look at the fact that it is a really good game. I like the bad guys, I like the enemies, they're nice, they're imaginative, they're also big as well on the screen. And that might sound like a strange thing to say, but when you've got large sprites, large detailed sprites, like these sort of weird scorpion ant things, whatever they are, they just look very attractive, they look really cool. And, you know, as I say, it all adds to the game. The graphics are lovely and colourful, and it's kind of refreshing. You know, with so many modern games, the different tones of sort of grey and brown, that you forget really that the one of the main selling points with the old games consoles was actually how many colours they had, and it seems weird to think of that nowadays, but this is a really colourful game. And, you know, as a result of that, there is a great deal of imagination gone into the actual game itself. Thankfully, as you can see there, your character can survive very, very long falls without sustaining any damage, which is really useful, because sometimes you do have to make a bit of a leap of faith, and if you took too much damage from these falls, I think it would push that game just a little bit over the edge in terms of making it a bit of an arse to play. Whereas, as it stands, you know, it's pretty much spot on. It's difficult, but it's not frustratingly difficult. Things can be solved with a little bit of thought, and, you know, I wouldn't suggest that there was anything unfair. What I would say is sometimes the collision detection can leave a little bit to be desired. You can sometimes hit the bad guy and like there and a couple of hits and they'll die, and then other times it's like you're hitting the guy, you know, 5 or 6 times and they just don't seem to die. It's almost as if the actual collision detection isn't detecting that you're hitting the person, and that can be a little bit annoying. And I think it's probably due to the fact that they are using either the same engine or certainly a modified engine of Shadow of the Beast, and whether it's something that is inherent from that, I don't know. But yeah, this is that's pretty much it. This is Legend of Galahad on the Sega Mega Drive, and it's really good. It's well worth hunting down a copy of it and, you know, having a good go of it. I just really enjoyed playing it, in stark contrast to some of the other games, certainly to Shadow of the Beast. So thanks for watching this video, and please stay tuned for more.